true crime. In today's episode, we're diving into the puzzling disappearance of Crystal Rogers. So we are going to unravel this mystery, though it's still an ongoing investigation. You see, in the summer of 2015, in the small town of Bardstown, Kentucky, the whole town was literally shaken to its core when 35-year-old Crystal Rogers inexplicably vanished without a trace. Now, this mother of five, she wouldn't just pick up and leave her kids. She was a beloved figure in this tight-knit community, which is known for its warm spirit and strong sense of family. But what we will also find out is that there's some really crazy mysteries going on in Bardstown, where people are disappearing, dying, and no one has answers. We're talking murder. And so we're going to be diving into the events that we are dealing with now in the disappearance as we continue the search for Crystal Rogers. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. In the sweltering Kentucky summer of 2015, the close-knit community of Bardstown was rocked by the sudden vanishing of 35-year-old Crystal Rogers, a devoted mother of five. We're diving into the perplexing events that are surrounding her disappearance and the subsequent twists that have kept this case unsolved for years, because we want answers. The family wants answers. Crystal's story, it began on the 4th of July weekend when she was last seen alive. Her cousin spotted her leaving Walmart, setting the stage for a mystery that would grip the hearts of her loved ones and the community alike. Her ex-husband received their children that day, and her family says the next night she went on a date night with her boyfriend, Brooks Houck. He told the cops that they had gone to his mother's farm. According to Brooks, when he awoke the next morning, Crystal was gone. Her uncharged phone, keys, and personal items were discovered in her maroon sedan parked on the Bluegrass Parkway with a flat tire, as it would show. Now, the ensuing days, they were filled with worry and uncertainty, culminating in Sherry Ballard, Crystal's mother, filing a missing persons report on July 5th of 2015. Again, 2 days after she was last seen. Now, immediately after they filed a missing persons report, the Ballard family informed the Nelson County Sheriff's Office that Brooks Houck may have something to do with her disappearance. And following their complaint, he was brought in for questioning, but his brother, Nick Houck, a Bardstown police officer, told Brooks not to speak with the police. When Nick was questioned by the jury, police believed that he had something to do with the case. Later, when Nick stopped cooperating with the sheriff's office, he eventually agreed to a polygraph test, which resulted in Nick getting fired from the Bardstown Police Department and officially becoming a suspect along with his brother, Brooks. Now, investigators, apparently a private investigator has found a crucial piece of evidence, which is a white Buick at the Houck brothers' farm after the disappearance of Crystal Rogers. However, their grandmother, Anna Whitesides, sold the Buick after a few days, leading the authorities to issue a subpoena, which is a written order to summon a person to the court. However, Anna Whitesides, she didn't testify in front of the jury, and in August of 2016, they did search Whitesides' whole residence, but they didn't find any type of evidence that led to Crystal Rogers' disappearance. And on the morning of November 19, 2016, 16 months after Crystal's disappearance, Tommy Ballard, her father, he was preparing for a hunting trip with his 12-year-old grandson on the family property next to Bluegrass Parkway in Bardstown, Kentucky. Another devastating blow would take to the Ballard family. An unknown subject fired one shot and hit Ballard in the chest and instantly killed him. Now, the circumstances of his death hinted at a connection to Crystal's case, even deepening the mystery even more. Now, detectives, they would later intriguingly find a receipt. This would be Crystal's last known whereabouts, which was captured on a Walmart receipt, placing her in the store's register at 4:36 p.m. on July 3rd, 2015. Now, the items that she purchased, it offered a little glimpse into her life at that very moment. And despite extensive investigations, a documentary, a volunteer searches, Crystal's whereabouts continue to remain unknown. They still do not know where Crystal is at. In August of 2020, the FBI took over the case, executing warrants and conducting interviews. The search for answers has led to properties associated with Brooks Houck's family, yet again, no charges have been filed against any of them at this time. Possible human remains, they were discovered near Crystal's last known location, and this would even add another layer of complexity around the disappearance. The authorities, consumed by their conviction that she was no longer alive, they have failed to bring justice to her mourning family. The anguish and determination of her loved ones reverberated through the small town, their story becoming a powerful force on true crime podcasts and TV series. In the midst of the relentless search for Crystal, Tommy Ballard, a steadfast father, relentlessly pursued any hope of finding his daughter. Every day he combed the streets and created an online platform, the hauntingly named Team Crystal, to rally countless strangers in their shared quest for truth. But fate had a cruel turn waiting for her devoted father. 16 agonizing months later, on the eve of a hunting trip that should have been a respite from the unbearable pain, Tommy Ballard encountered an unknown attacker on his own family property. In a tragic instant, a shot pierced his chest, extinguishing his life and leaving another chilling mystery in its wake. His murder, like his daughter's vanishing, remains unsolved, a sorrowful testament to the depths of darkness that befell Bardstown. Sherry Ballard, the grieving mother of Crystal Rogers, firmly believes that her husband's ultimate untimely demise was no random act of violence. She is convinced that he was targeted because his relentless search for their daughter was inching ever closer to the terrible truth. In her broken voice, she spoke the bitter truth to the daily beast. My husband is dead because he looked for my daughter. Those heart-wrenching words encapsulated the depths of despair that engulfed Bardstown, a haunting reminder of the price paid for seeking justice. Years slipped away, but the wounds remained raw and unhealed. The 8th anniversary of Crystal Rogers' disappearance passed in a somber haze of unanswered questions and unspoken grief. The relentless search for justice yielded no updates, no breakthroughs, and no arrests. Until now. Just when hope seemed lost, the investigation took an unexpected twist, sending shockwaves through the town. The announcement pierced the heavy air like a bolt of lightning in a storm-ravaged sky. A suspect had finally been charged in connection to Crystal's case. The name Joseph Lawson reverberated through the once sleepy town, a name that had never been uttered publicly in relation to the disquiet and puzzle that was Crystal Rogers' life and untimely demise. With bated breath and shattered hearts, the community clung to this shard of hope, desperately seeking closure after years of torment. Yet, the tiniest flicker of justice brought forth more questions than answers. Uncertainty lingered like a dark cloud as the possibility of an unknown suspect hung ominously in the air. The FBI, shrouded in secrecy, they refused to shed any light on the details of the indictment or disclose any intentions of apprehending additional individuals. You see, their silence, like a torrential downpour on a barren landscape, only deepened the unending sorrow that engulfed Bardstown. Joseph Lawson, now a central figure in this tragic tale, finds himself confined behind prison walls, held on an exorbitant bond. Lawson was first indicted on these tampering charge on June 21st, but the case was sealed until recently. The indictment on the conspiracy charge was handed down on July 24th. Now, Rogers, he is not named in the indictment, but Lawson's attorney, Kevin Coleman, he did confirm that his client's case is tied to Crystal Rogers' disappearance. And he says, obviously, I don't know a lot about this case at this point, but I'm sure there's going to be lots to do, he would acknowledge. Now, his bond has been set at $500,000, and he is due in court on October 26th of this year. Now, Lawson, he is paralyzed from the waist down and he uses a wheelchair, and he is being held alone in a cell with accommodations for handicapped inmates. The weight of the charges, conspiracy to murder and complicity to tampering with physical evidence, it bore down on him, symbolizing the heavy burden of justice and also sharing what could have possibly happened to Crystal Rogers. As he awaits his day in court, the realization dawns that this is not his first encounter with the merciless clutches of the law. His criminal past paints a bleak portrait stained with charges of methamphetamine possession, burglary, trespassing, and assault. The shadows of his crimes loom large, casting a chilling pall over his connection to Crystal Rogers' enigmatic fate. What happened to Crystal Rogers? Now, online sleuths in the enigmatic Team Crystal Facebook page, they harnessed their collective determination and unearthed a startling revelation. You see, Steve Lawson, an employee of Brooks Houck, again, Crystal's former boyfriend, and the main person of interest in this case, appeared in a police interview followed by his disappearance. So, as you can see, this is the video. The intertwining web of fate seemed undeniable as the recording echoed with Detective John Snow's probing questions about a late-night phone call between Brooks Houck and Steve Lawson, a man who has been linked to Joseph Lawson. Now, we would later find out that Steve Lawson is the dad of Joseph Lawson. And so he was asked about this phone call. The truth unveiled itself layer by layer as they connected these dots. The unsettling call echoed through the recording, reverberating in their ears like a chilling whisper in the night, because he would ask him, "Who is Steve Lawson?" And with a quivering reply piercing the silence, he says, "That's somebody who works for me." And so the threads intertwine, revealing a relationship between the suspected murderer and the man who vanished into the darkness. The desperate search for that elusive breakthrough led investigators to the farm that is owned by the Houck family. Once a place filled with joy and laughter, now a haunting reminder of shattered lives. And so the FBI, they scoured the barren fields and the decaying structures, seeking solace in the fragments of evidence that lay hidden within the heart of darkness. Their solemn silence spoke volumes, hinting at the secrets they uncovered, their echoing footsteps like a requiem for lost silence, for the lost innocence. And let me tell you, they are onto something, because when the FBI took over in 2020, they knew they're getting closer and closer. And so now we are trying to find what could possibly be. I am sorry for that back noise. I forgot to turn something on. So Crystal Rogers, her disappearance, it's not an isolated tragedy in Bardstown by any means, because other people have gone, as I was sharing with you early. The weight of countless unsolved murders cast a pall over the town, each one a testament to the overwhelming grief that permeated the very fabric of the community. And now we are trying to find what kind of answers we can figure out, because we know that 3 people have been murdered or disappeared, and we do not know anything as to why that happened. Officer Jason Ellis, who was gunned down while protecting his town. Kathy and Samantha Netherland, the brutal slaying of Crystal's father. Now, Officer Jason Ellis, his family even spoke, and they believe there might be a connection to Crystal Rogers' case. There could be some type of little connection. They are, again, they're just guessing. In Nelson County, 4 families are waiting for answers in 4 different high-profile cases, as I've shared with you. Jason, Kathy, Samantha, Tommy. They're all are still waiting for answers too. And then you add Crystal Rogers, that's 5 different people waiting for answers. And so now Lacey Young, Ellis's sister, she said it's reassurance that they are working on the case. It's reassurance that they still care. It's reassurance that they're not being forgotten. I think it's hope for the other cases, because it's saying that they're working it. Now, Jason Ellis, 33 years old at the time he was shot and killed on May 25th, 2013. This is 2 years before Crystal's case. Ellis, he had just finished working a shift with the Bardstown Police Department, and he was on his way home when he saw something unusual: branches blocking an exit ramp off the Bluegrass Parkway. And it was well past midnight, nearly 3 a.m. in the morning, and despite having just signed off for the night, Ellis, he pulled over to clear the debris and ensure future drivers that they were safe, As he worked to remove the branches, someone shot the Bardstown officer several times, fatally wounding him. Investigators have since called this an ambush, the tree debris luring him from his car so they could kill him. This sounds very similar to Jared Bridegan, right? Who, the Microsoft executive, who was also killed in a very similar manner. Now, investigators, they have never fully linked the Ellis case to Rogers' case, but in a 2020 interview with the FBI, Assistant Special Agent in charge, Brian Jones, he said that he believed answers in one Bardstown case could lead to answers in others. And so that the Ellis family, they do agree for obvious reasons. What do you think about that? I believe that I do believe there is a connection between Tommy Ballard and Crystal Rogers. I believe that is because the way it all plays itself, the way it all plays out. And so you had Ballard, Crystal's own father, he was taken from this world in a storm of violence. And no one understands why this would have happened to him. And so all of these stories, they're entwined, entangled in an enigma that threatened to consume Bardstown whole community. The FBI, the beacon of hope and justice, wove their threads of investigation into a web of unparalleled complexity. They ventured deep into the heart of darkness, determined to forge connections, uncover the truth, and bring these unsolved mysteries to a rightful resolution. And so the Crystal Rogers Task Force is also hoping to get some answers. This is a website that became a digital chronicle of their tireless pursuit, a lifeline for a community held captive by fear, sorrow, and an insatiable hunger for justice. In this haunting saga, Bardstown contemplates its own existence, teetering on the precipice between shattered innocence and unquenchable resilience. Each new discovery, each glimmer of hope, it becomes a lifeline that binds a community that refuses to be silenced. Through the darkest nights and the harshest storms, Bardstown stands resolute, demanding a reckoning and vowing to illuminate the shadows that have cloaked the truth far too long. The winds of change blow through the desolate streets, carrying whispers of justice and a lingering hope that justice will prevail. The haunting legacy of Crystal Rogers, Tommy Ballard, and countless others can no longer be silenced. Bardstown, forever marked by its intertwined tragedies, yearns for the moment when truth will be unveiled. Let's be real, it sounds kind of scary to live there at this moment. And in that moment, a broken community will heal, rising from the ashes of despair to reclaim its identity and honor the memories of those who were lost. Obviously, someone else is involved. Could it be the ex-boyfriend, Brooks Houck? He is the one that has been the closest one that has been linked. Will Joseph speak? Has he spoke? Are they doing everything they can to gather as much information before they move on? Because justice is needing to be served here for Crystal Rogers. Her family, her kids, they all deserve justice. And to be honest with you, Tommy Ballard deserves justice. Jason Ellis deserves justice. The ladies deserve justice. Too much is going on here in this town. Someone knows. This is a small community. Someone has answers, but obviously they're scared to talk for obvious reasons. Joseph Lawson, you can even see where he has been in this, where he talked about being in the UK, paralyzed from the waist down, just thankful. Do you have friends and loved ones to help me and an amazing old lady, Kathy Hansen, by my side through it all? Now he is faced with this. Is he going to speak? There's a big story to this mystery, and that's what brings us to this day, because Crystal Rogers deserves justice. She is still considered missing, while the cops actually believe that she is not here anymore. Justice, rest in peace, Crystal Rogers. Rest in peace, Tommy Ballard. Taken from this world way too soon. Sorry about the early audio. My friends, if you are new to the channel, I am just a work in progress. To me, these stories deserve to be heard because Crystal's story deserves to be heard. If this is the type of story you like to follow, if you want to support what we're doing, just hit that subscribe button. I'm not asking you for anything else other than follow our stories if it fits you. Because here's the truth. We have to be aware of what's going on in this world. We have to be aware of our surroundings. We have to be aware of the people that we're trusting. And so my goal is to keep you aware of what could go wrong in this crazy world we live in. My goal is to be a voice for the victims, just like Crystal Rogers. Rest in peace, Crystal. Until next time, my friends, be careful, be safe, be alert, be aware. Peace.